Hey YouTube, how's everybody going? Hope you all have had a wonderful week. Um, I open every single video exactly the same. How can I make this different? Oh boy. Anyways, so like I said last week, thanks for tuning in. I did my top 3 favorite DC superheroes, and if you didn't see that video, there's a link to it right here. So this week we will be covering my top 3 favorite DC supervillains. And yeah, that's really it. And if you listen to my whole spiel in the last video, you'll kind of understand. These are my favorite superheroes. These may not reflect everybody's. These are my personal favorites, and I'm just going to talk about them and why I connect to them or why I like them, whatever. So I'm just going to hop right into it. I know you guys don't want to sit here and listen to me ramble. So my number 1 favorite DC supervillain is Black Manta. By all means, by far, Black Manta. Why? Mysterious, driven, badass motherfucker, or BAMF, whatever you prefer if you don't want to hear me cuss. Oh, too late. He's an obsessive egomaniac, psycho, serial killer, sort of like just crazy person. And I think that Black Manta is the epitome of what a villain should be. In a sense of he's been portrayed in comics as a father who, to Calderon, he's a murderer. He has killed a child in the comics at one point, which has made him very unpopular with other villains, and he just doesn't care. Not that I advocate for killing children, but like as a badass villain, that's kind of the point. He's like a sadistic asshole, sort of. He's a terrible person. He's driven by the thought of revenge because Aquaman killed his father, or that's like one of his possible origins. He's almost as mysterious as the Joker. You know that he's a black guy, and you know his name is David, and that is the maximum of what you know about Black Manta. There aren't many villains that are that mysterious. Aside, there's the Joker. But I mean, Black Manta is if you ever read what he did in Forever Evil, he, without a second thought, just like the evil Alfred that came from, there's one scene in there, it stuck with me for a long time. There's one scene where the evil Alfred was just standing in a room. Black Manta walks right up behind him and slits his throat, and the other people he's with are like, oh, that was harsh, and he's like, I don't care, they all die, I want them to die. And I think that was kind of one of the moments where I was like, oh, that's a villain, that's a bad guy right there, he is not a good person. And I think that is one of the reasons why Black Manta is my favorite villain of all time. He is just terrible. There's like no redeeming qualities about the dude. I mean, he will stop at nothing to ruin Aquaman's life and kill him and his family, and that is a villain for you. And the character himself, taking away from his personality, but just like accessories, and he looks really cool. His accessories are awesome. He's very resourceful. He's intelligent. He's crazy, but he's intelligent. He knows what he's doing most of the time, even though superheroes always win, whatever. But yeah, so Black Manta, one of my top favorite villains of all time. Leading to my number 2 favorite villain is Vandal Savage. Why Vandal Savage? I think Vandal Savage is one of my favorite... Oh, there goes my pen. I think Vandal Savage is one of my favorite supervillains because I don't really think he's a villain in a sense. Kind of like how you ever hear Stan Lee try to describe Doctor Doom? He just wants to rule the world. It's not that he's a bad guy. It's not that he wants to kill people. He just wants to rule the world. It's kind of the same thing with Vandal Savage. I mean, yeah, he does evil things and he's sadistic and he will step on other people to... get his way or move himself up, but he's, patient, smart, creates well thought out plans, has followers, he's kind and loyal to his followers. He even had a family at one point. If you watch Legends of Tomorrow, he had a daughter, which means he's capable of love. I mean, like there's lust where you just, do it with somebody. There's love where you have a child and raise them, and he raised a child, I don't think the dude is necessarily like a villain, but he has become the villain that he needs to be to put things the way that he sees in his head. I think that's just really interesting, from like a psyche point of view, if you were to looking at the human mind. I'm not a psychologist, I'm not like a doctor or anything, I'm not a philosopher, but I think that his character is just so interesting just because he's the immortal man. He has nothing but time on his hands, and he has the patience, and he will attain his goal, and he's just driven to get what he wants, and he won't stop at anything. So that is cool. So yeah, Vandal Savage. One of my holy grails in my comic book collection is actually his very first appearance. It took me almost a year to find one in satisfactory condition that I wanted, but I finally picked up my Green Lantern number 10, probably halfway through last year. It's from 1943. It's the original Golden Age Green Lantern, and it was called The Man Who Wanted the World, and that's Vandal right there on the front, who's all blue and green or teal, whatever, with his beard and everything and his pointy ears. So Vandal Savage, great villain. Yeah. It's also one of the only Golden Age comics I own. I think I own like 4 graded ones. So, moving on, my third and final favorite DC villain is Brainiac. Brainiac, again, because I don't necessarily see him as like a villain, but he is a machine who has devoted he's not created a personality for it per se, but he's taken his programming to an extreme and is just doing what he thinks is right. He deletes useless data and things that he perceives to be useless, and collects it, and he wants to that's it. He just wants to collect data, and really in a broken down sense, despite the killing and the absorbing and the blah 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 blah, you know what I'm talking about. But in a basic primordial sense, like, he just wants to collect his data. He's really just doing what he was supposed to do. He's just taking it to an extreme, and it got amplified, and then it got into like where he was like almost on the level of a god, and he warps reality and things like that. There was that whole thing with Convergence where he put everything on one planet. It was like, okay, everybody kill each other till there's one left, and then you guys can live. That's where he gets to the villain part, and that's pretty sadistic and screwed up, and whatever. He is a villain. I think that he's like, his level of near omnipotence was neat. I love the word neat. I use it a lot. I've been told that recently. But anyways, so yeah, Brainiac, he's cool. That's really it. It's not really as deep as the superheroes was. Black Manta and Vandal Savage, I'm really like tight to, like, character wise, just because Black Manta is the salt to Aquaman's pepper sort of deal, and so those characters are really intertwined, and Aquaman is a really important character to me, so Black Manta has also become a really important character to me. Vandal Savage, I don't know what it is really about the dude. I mean, yes, his character, his personality, the things that drive him, but if you guys ever watched like Justice League before it became Justice League Unlimited, there was an episode where Toyman sent Superman into the future, and the only man left in the future was Vandal Savage, and it was shown that he was lonely, and he had thought about everything that he had been through, and it showed that he could be redeemed as a person. I thought that was a good quality, as because villains, generally speaking, I don't think that they perceive themselves to be villains unless they're the rogues and they're like, yeah, no, we are villains and we rob shit, and they openly announce themselves as thugs. But I think that Vandal Savage is like kind of like a step above that. So that's really it, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you guys are enjoying these nerd novelty videos. Please let me know what you think of these videos in the comments below, because I really want to know if this is going to be like a thing that catches on. And yeah, just hit the subscribe button, tell your friends about the channel. Make sure, again, that you're tuning in for Emerald City Comic Con, which is like in a week or something like that. So I'm really excited for y'all to see it, and I hope that my vlog of the convention is entertaining for y'all. So that's really it, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you next time.